Good evening, Erev Tov. I have some tea lights and some matches. Open this up. I know a lot of people have been feeling stressed out and down lately. I've been a little stressed out myself as well. And I'm slowly getting over an illness I've been dealing with for about a month. So I've been a little down as well. And I'd like to light these tea light candles and have each candle represent a feeling, an emotion, because it's good to address our emotions. And if we can maybe let one candle burn for each feeling, that might give us the space we need to acknowledge the feelings we have and to feel some sense of relief. Okay, let's trim these a little bit if we can. Sometimes it can be difficult to trim the wicks with just regular scissors. I think they have wick trimmers that are designed for this, but I don't have any. So we'll just use scissors. It's all a part of the maintenance. Being aware of your feelings, addressing them, it's all really maintenance and it's work, but it's necessary. There are a lot of things that can be work and maintenance, but are necessary. you wash your dishes, but then you eat again, and now you have more dishes that you need to wash. And the cycle continues on. And I think that's the same for feelings as well, which is why a lot of my ASMR videos incorporate feelings, because feelings are a daily thing that we feel every day, every moment really. We're always feeling feelings. It's not like you can just acknowledge your feelings once and then you're good for a week, a month, a year. It's something you have to keep paying attention to. And so this is just regular maintenance. Okay. Now should we begin in the front? Or should we begin in the back? I'll light this front one first, but then maybe we'll move to the back and work our way up front so that you can make sure you see all of the feelings. Let me get my matches. Now, before we light this match and we light the first candle, let's think about what this candle represents. I think first and foremost, what I'd really like this candle to represent, especially during this time when I think a lot of people are stressed out, confused, upset, just dealing with a lot of different things, personally or in the world. I would like this to represent inner peace. So we'll light this and then we'll reflect on and focus on inner peace. So we have our first candle lit. This represents inner peace. And the reason I chose inner peace is I think that's really important for everyone to have. Sometimes we talk about world peace and if that's achievable. But I don't think anything like that is achievable until everyone has a sense of inner peace within them. A lot of interpersonal conflicts or conflicts within ourselves, inter and intrapersonal, they stem from just having unresolved feelings, not knowing what to do with them. Sometimes you're mad at someone and you feel wronged. Sometimes you feel like you've done wrong and you feel a little guilty. There's all kinds of things that can make us feel unresolved, and we don't have inner peace in those moments, and so those feelings fester and they sometimes result in behaviors we're not always proud of, or that we just don't really understand. And so I wish for everyone to have a sense of inner peace, that no matter what, even if you're angry or sad or having a bad day, there's some sort of sense that you're okay with who you are and the life you're living and the choices that you're able to make in the situation that you're in. It's a lot easier said than done. I'm not saying this is an easy feeling to achieve, and I don't think it's a feeling you can have all of the time, but I do think that it's important to try to attain it when you can and to recognize it when you have it. And so I wish inner peace for you and for everyone. Okay, I'm going to move to this one in the back here. So this one back here, not in focus. I think this will represent fear. So let's light a candle and talk a little bit about fear. As you can see, this back one is lit. And so I wanted to focus on fear next. It might seem interesting to jump from inner peace to fear, but let's talk about fear a little bit. It's something we all experience. It's normal, it's natural. It's okay to have fear, but fear is very powerful. It can really influence our behaviors. Sometimes when we're afraid, we may feel inundated and not be able to make decisions. And some would even say indecision is a decision. But sometimes we freeze when we really need to act because of fear. Sometimes we act out irrationally and quite rashly when we're afraid. Maybe we say something we'll regret later, or we'll behave in a way that we'll regret later. Fear can make us turn to violence and hate and things like that, or it can make us turn to isolation and depression. It's really a strong, strong feeling. And I'm not vilifying it because, again, it's natural. Everyone experiences fear. And so by lighting this candle for fear, I hope that you have a visual, something you can look at, something that you can name to say, here's fear, I'm experiencing it. And then maybe you won't act in a way you might regret later. You can acknowledge that it's there and process it in a more healthy way. And so that is fear. Okay, we've got another candle back here. And for this one, I'd like to focus on maybe one of fear's cousins, anger. So let's light this candle for anger, and we'll talk about it. Almost got a splinter there. So we have anger right here, out of focus. Pay attention to the anger candle. And so the reason we have anger lit now is because, again, anger is another normal emotion to have. It's okay to feel anger. I think sometimes we're ashamed to feel anger because it's kind of seen as a negative emotion. But really, emotions aren't positive or negative, they just are. it's more sometimes the actions that result from those emotions, from not processing them and just feeling them and acting. Some of those actions can be negative. Sometimes you lose your temper and you break something, or you yell, and then later you feel ashamed of that. But anger itself, there's nothing really to be ashamed about. And anger can be an important feeling. I think it's related to fear, because sometimes when we're afraid or we feel hurt or betrayed, we turn to anger to protect us. And I think that's okay. Sometimes anger really can protect you. Sometimes it's hard to feel like you're afraid when you're angry. So I think if you're aware of the anger and you know how to manage it and you have a healthy grasp on it, it's okay to feel some anger. And so I just want you to reflect on the concept of anger. Maybe think about how you do react when you're angry. Do you ever have knee-jerk responses? And is there something you can do when you're feeling angry? Or you can make maybe better use of that anger. So instead of the knee-jerk reaction, maybe you take a breath. You tell yourself that you know you're feeling angry, and then maybe you can find a healthy way to work through that anger and honor it without being destructive or regretting. I think sometimes when I feel hurt and angry, I exercise, or sometimes I turn to art and I just find a way to express myself, and not all of the art I create out of anger and hurt evokes those feelings, but they come from those feelings, even if it's a piece of art that seems rather positive. So that's anger. And so now you have a visual here for all the times you've recently felt anger. Here it is in front of you. You can name it. You can talk about it. There it is for you. Okay. We've got one more in the last row I'd like to do. This one out of focus as well. Here it is up close. And for this one, I'd like to talk about sadness. So let's light this and talk about sadness. We have sadness here now. And again, just like all the other feelings, sadness might not be pleasant to feel. I know it's certainly not pleasant for me, but again, there aren't good or bad feelings, they just are. And sadness can be very telling. It can let you know when something isn't right, when you've been hurt, when you don't feel safe, when you've lost something that's very meaningful to you. But sometimes sadness seems to come out of nowhere too, and that can be difficult. Maybe you're riding the bus or going for a walk or eating lunch, and suddenly you're just hit with a pang of sadness, and you kind of wonder where that came from. I'm not sure if this is true for everyone, but sometimes I notice when the sadness seems to come out of nowhere, it's because just a few thoughts ago I was thinking about something that made me sad. And so I thought about something that made me sad, and then I moved on to other thoughts. But that feeling of sadness still stayed with me, and I could still feel it. And I had to go back and trace back my train of thoughts and go, oh yeah, I had just thought of that. And that's what brought on that feeling of sadness. That might not be the case for everyone, but it might be worth investigating if you notice you suddenly feel sadness, or really any feeling suddenly. You trace your thoughts, because the thoughts you have also put you on an emotional journey. Anyways, sadness certainly is not pleasant, but it's meaningful. It reminds us of the things that are meaningful to us. And it is passing usually. And again, sometimes we get so used to feeling sad, we kind of forget to acknowledge it. So here it is. Here's a candle with sadness. There it is in front of you. You can acknowledge it. You can acknowledge the times that you felt sad recently. It's here. And it's okay that you felt sad. Okay. Let's move on to this candle here in the middle row. This candle here. So this one, rather than happiness, I think this is going to represent joy. And we'll talk a little bit about joy in a minute. That is a bad candle or match. Let's try this one. And so we have this one right here. This candle represents joy. We talked about a lot of heavy feelings that are sometimes not too pleasant to experience. We have to also talk about the feelings that are more pleasant to experience as well. Because that, believe it or not, positive feelings can sometimes be complicated too. I think sometimes we forget to acknowledge when we're feeling joy, or because we're stressed out and feeling some of the other feelings, we fail to recognize when things bring us joy, or we forget to notice even just the small things. Maybe you're frustrated at work, but it's the morning and you're having your cup of coffee, and it's a really good cup of coffee, and you should take a moment to enjoy that and experience the joy of your good cup of coffee you have. So it's really important to remember to notice the things that bring you joy, the things that excite you. And sometimes when we're feeling joy, we think about the future and we think, oh no, I'm feeling happy right now. And happiness, like all feelings, is fleeting. So this happiness is going to go away. These good times are going to go away. I'm going to feel bad again. I'm going to feel sad, angry, lonely, whatever it is. And that's understandable, but I think it's really important to not jump ahead, to not think about how temporary and fleeting the good feelings are, and to just be with that feeling when you have it and enjoy it while it's there. Because joy is a gift. It's nice that we get to feel that way at times. So for all the times that you've experienced joy, here it is out in front of you. And let it also be a reminder to pay attention and notice when you're experiencing joy, but maybe missed it because of some of the other feelings that were kind of taking the front seat. So remember to enjoy even the small things and to not get worried too much about when those feelings will go away. We're going to do this one back here, and this candle, for lack of a better word, it's going to represent hurt, which I do think is different from sadness and fear and anger, although they are all related. Okay, so the candles are getting hot now. So we've got hurt right here. And so I do distinguish hurt from fear, anger, sadness. Maybe there's a better word for it, but I know when I feel hurt, there's just this feeling of betrayal, feeling of almost questioning my reality. And so I think feeling hurt is a really strong feeling. I think it often comes from feeling betrayed. Maybe when someone you care about, someone who you think cares about you as well, when they do something that's upsetting to you, maybe they say something that's insulting, or they do something selfish that impacts you, it can really hurt you. And that's a pretty unique feeling to have, to feel betrayed, you know. I think it's important to remember that everything is complicated. You know, you're your own person. You're almost like your own galaxy or universe. You have all of these feelings and thoughts and experiences and a certain set of way of looking at things, and everyone around you is their own universe, and they've got their set of complex feelings and contradictions and paradigms and experiences. And so sometimes people unintentionally hurt us. Sometimes we unintentionally hurt people. So I think when we're hurt, sometimes our immediate knee-jerk reaction is anger. Maybe we want vengeance or something like that. And I'm not making fun of that. I'm laughing just because I know how it can feel that way. But I think it is important to remind yourself that everyone is complicated, and sometimes when we're being hurt, it's not intentional. It doesn't make those feelings go away, but it's important to remember to communicate your feelings. That starts with yourself, so that starts with you acknowledging, hey, this feeling, this really strong feeling I'm having right now, I think it's because I feel hurt, I feel betrayed, I feel upset by something that has happened, and it impacts me. And when you acknowledge that, and you work through it, and if it's safe, maybe you can address it with the person that maybe hurt you. Maybe not always. And I should add, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trying to give you advice. I'm just using this exercise to help you acknowledge your feelings. I think these exercises help me, so I hope they can help you too. But so that's hurt. This is your candle. This is your acknowledgement for times that you felt hurt recently. So we'll put this down and put it back. Okay. We've got this candle here. Think about the feeling that would go with this. I think rather than a feeling, I do want to talk about a concept. So this candle is going to actually represent authenticity. So let's light it and I'll tell you a little bit more. about what I mean with authenticity. Okay, so again, not really a feeling, but here's authenticity for you. I think it's really important to live an authentic life. And I think part of being authentic is being able to acknowledge your feelings, to recognize them, to take time to really work through them so that they don't get the best of you and you don't end up acting in ways you regret later. That can be doing exercises, going to therapy, talking your feelings out, having a journal, whatever it is. But I think authenticity is really about being honest with yourself and living in a way that you can sign off on, that you can feel like, I'm okay with this decision I made, I'm okay with the way I'm living my life. And a lot of that is done through actions. You know, it's the way you treat yourself, you treat your friends, the way you view the world, the way you treat people who have nothing to offer to you. But I do think to get there and to act that way, authenticity does start with acknowledging your feelings and being honest about them. Because how can you live authentically if you're not addressing what's going on inside of you day to day, moment to moment? Those feelings are always being felt. So let this candle be your guidance, your hope, to be authentic, and to remember that. Let it acknowledge that. We have a few candles left. I'm trying to think of all the other feelings I want to talk about. We'll do this middle one right here. I think this will represent anxiety. Here we have anxiety. I'm going to hold it back here for now. And anxiety, again, somewhat complicated. I think we often think of anxiety as a bad thing because it can be distracting, and in excess it can be really hard to live with and manage your life and function. But a little bit of anxiety is a good thing. It helps you be aware of your surroundings, aware of what's happening around you. It can make you aware of what situations are safe, what people are safe, when you're not safe. As much as anxiety is not always fun to experience, if we always walked around just feeling cool as a cucumber all the time and never feeling alert, we might put ourselves in danger. We might not be aware of important things going on that we should really be paying attention to. And as someone who has maybe had a bit of anxiety throughout their life, maybe a little bit more than the average person, while in excess it's not great, I do think some anxiety is a gift. It's important to have. And so if you felt anxious at all recently, which I'm sure many have, here is anxiety for you. You've named it. You have a place you can put your anxiety and kind of view it. Step back from it for a moment. You can feel frustrated with it, but also maybe a little grateful for it as well. But most importantly, you're acknowledging it. And it's okay to feel anxious. I think the world we live in today really creates, it's an environment where a lot of anxiety can exist. So if you're feeling anxious, you're just existing in the world and you're trying your best. So here we are, that's anxiety. Okay, we've got 2 more candles that are in view. Let's see. We'll start with this side first and then do this one. Okay. For this one, I want to talk about excitement. It's a little bit different than joy. Move this one out of the way. It's not in frame. So we have excitement here. I focused on a lot of complex emotions, ones that aren't always nice to experience, but I do want to also focus on some other more pleasant experiences. So besides an inner sense of peace and besides joy, excitement is important. You know, it's good to have things to look forward to, especially when we spend a lot of time on social media and we read news and we feel bad. It's really important to be excited about things. I mean, I think it's important to focus on the present more than the past or future, but it's okay to look a little bit ahead, maybe the near future. Maybe this upcoming weekend you have plans with friends and that's something you're excited about. So a little bit of focus on the future is okay. But even in the present, I think you can get excited about things. You can turn the news off for a minute, go outside, maybe the weather's nice and it's fall and it feels like fall and you feel excited about that because fall is your favorite season. That's just an example that I can relate to, but it can be really anything. Maybe you just remembered you still have a candy bar in the fridge. You're excited about that. Similar to joy and remembering to experience the little things in life that make you happy. It's good to have things to look forward to. It's good to have things that can really make you feel invigorated and excited about life. So let this candle be a reminder to feel excited. And if you felt excited this week, here it is in front of you. This can be your moment to remember all of those times you felt excited and relive them. Or this can be a reminder to get excited about things. Let it encourage you, maybe inspire you. And so finally, last but not least, we have this candle here, and this is going to represent hope. Similar to excitement, but a little different. I'll explain my interpretation of hope. Let's light the candle. So we have hope here. Now, if you remember, we started with inner peace, and now we're ending with hope. And I think it's important to start and end with these concepts. So, again, inner peace is important. I think it can help you avoid conflicts and appreciate your life and your experiences. And then hope is important. As I mentioned, not to demonize social media. I use social media too. Sometimes I really enjoy it, but I do think, social media is made by companies that they have an algorithm. They want to make profits through ads, and they want people hooked. So things that are really extreme on the internet are what are going to get the most views and the most attention, and it can be very polarizing, and it can really be not great for our mental health to be online all the time, because I think we lose hope. We hear about the news, we hear about really polarizing things that are going on and different opinions people have, and it can start to feel like everything is getting bad, the world is ending, things are just getting worse. And just remember that that is a bit of a skewed perception, because we're getting those ideas from a specific platform. And so I think it's important to sometimes step away from those extreme thoughts, from the absolutes, the everything's going bad, everything's getting worse, and remember that, at least from a historical standpoint, things do seem to get better, and it's important to have hope and to not just give up. And so if you've been feeling stressed out lately, if you've been feeling a little bit like you're doomed or we're doomed, let this candle be a reminder to have some hope. One way that I think can really help with doing that and restoring your hope is to spend time with people that you care about, ones who, really you have a healthy relationship with. When you get together with them, you just feel like you can be yourself. There are people you trust, and you always have a good time with them. I think taking part in activities and hobbies you like can also be good to just get your mind off of things. I think things like that, even though they're not quite related to hope, they do kind of restore your faith in things and your sense of hope that things can be better and things maybe aren't always so bad. So that's hope. I hope you felt some hope recently, and if not, let this candle maybe light some hope for you. And so here are all the candles, all of the feelings. When I wave my hands over, it's actually quite hot. Let that be a reminder that our feelings are strong. And again, feelings aren't good or bad. Some are unpleasant to experience, but they all do serve somewhat of a purpose for us. And when you can maybe have them out in front of you, and you can find a healthy way to define them, name them, acknowledge that they're there, talk about them, you get sort of a release and a relief. So I hope that this video was somehow helpful for you, and that maybe you've been able to acknowledge your feelings, have a restored sense of inner peace and hope, and maybe be able to feel reset. I want to thank you very, very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, please comment below, And please subscribe to my channel. I put out videos almost every week, and I am trying to grow my channel. So it would mean a lot if you do subscribe. And as always, Toda Rabah, Laila Tov. Thank you very much, and good night.